This is Art Jones, and this is the summary of the blue sheet. In hoping I will summarize it in a way that helps you deconstruct the blue sheet and create your own sheet that serves as a guide as you explore the possibilities with the list of prospective companies we're seeking to onboard with. I'm going to go left, start in the upper left-hand corner, go down to the bottom of the first column, go to the middle and down into the column on the right, and then down. So left to right, top to bottom, bit by bit. So the single sales objective, you know, for each of these companies there will be a different position perhaps that you'll be going for, and we should note that, and then we should group those that are similar with each other. Buying influence is involved. We talked a little bit about this. You know, you've got detractors, people that are like, no way is she coming in here. You've got influencers, somebody who can influence a recommender or a decision or an economic buyer. And an influencer, because it can influence a recommender. An influencer can recommend another influencer, the higher seniority or higher authority, or an economic buyer. We want to note what kind of influencer it is. Then of course you have recommenders, you have decision makers, and then you have an economic buyer who's really the final say, who puts their signature on your check per se. So detractors, influencers, recommenders, decision makers, and economic buyers, we should begin thinking of the people that we come in contact with at these different accounts that way, and giving them a score, if you will, and moving detractors into recommenders and influencers. Or if we can't move them, we recognize that they're detractors and we try to surround them with people that are positive about us. Summary of my position today. And this would be an assessment. And I think you've already done this on some of the accounts, where you look at the accounts, and if you know somebody inside the account, that would be your position. I know someone inside. When you know somebody of higher authority, that's a decision maker. That's better than knowing somebody who's an influencer. The influencer has to go to a recommender, who has to go to a decision maker, and so on and so on. So the higher order of contact that you already have would be noted in this column. So if you're going for companies where you are going to be the senior real estate executive, and in that account, in that category, you know one person that's an influencer. Of the three, just one person you have a relationship with, an influencer, they go on the top. And then you have to stack rank the next two, and you would stack rank those next two by your position, what you know about the account, the amount of research that you've done. If you've done more research, or if more research is available on one account than the other, then that becomes, the one with more research becomes number two, and number three, because it's desirable, has no contact, has not a lot of research, puts you not in a great position, so you make them number three. And this is how we order them on your spreadsheet. Red flags is always a fun one to consider, because a red flag is simply what could go wrong, what's already going wrong. I want to work for this company, but they look like they're an acquisition target. I want to work for this company, but Wall Street says they're a mess. I want to work for this company, but the people I know in there, I'm not that crazy about. I just happen to know them. So those are red flags. And then of course there are other red flags that you, understanding thematically what a red flag is, you can note and add them to this spreadsheet. Always nice to know that instead of pursuing something that's full of red flags and being disappointed in the end, if they have red flags, they go to the bottom of the stack We can still work them, and we can still try to turn the red flag into something positive, but when we have something higher in the stack that's easier and has more favorability, that's where we spend our time. And that's what this chart is really trying to illustrate for us, is where do we spend our time and where can we forecast the best outcome. To the middle column, the top, competition. Competition would be, in one account, we're a passive candidate. We're trying to create opportunity for ourselves. In another account, I've already seen that they've got a job rec, looks like it's been out for 3 months already. That's competition. You know there's competition in there because the job rec has been out there. Other people like you are submitting and competing for those positions. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It just means an awareness of competition and what kind of competition is there. As you go deeper into the cycle, competition can morph into, when you become the best 1 of 5, then you pretty much might even have some feedback as to who you're competing against. And then you flesh that out with more granularity. Possible actions. Based on everything that's come before this, what are the possible actions I can take to neutralize a detractor, to improve my position with an influencer, to get them to recommend me to a more senior person? What are the possible actions? How do I campaign within this account to improve my position? To the third column on the right and the top, ideal customer criteria. And this is where you are really assessing, what do they mean to me? Why do I want to work with them so much? And ideally, we come up with a criteria that's kind of like a filter, not too granular, maybe a top 5 or 7 things that you want to assure that these companies have. And if they don't have 7, they have 5, they can still make the list, but those with 7 should move to the top of the list. But if they move to the top of the list because they have 7, but they have 3 red flags, you on balance have to find a place for them on the chart that's representative of the mix of things that you've added to that row on the chart. How well is our bases covered? On the chart it says a recommender. That puts you in the middle. Somebody can recommend you to a decision maker. In a passive account, the job rec's not been let, but you know that there's potential opportunity and someone's willing to recommend that you speak to some C-level executive. What do you need to do to make that introduction work for you? What bases do you need to cover before asking for that recommendation? And after getting the recommendation, what prep work do you need to do to assure that you have all your bases covered so you put yourself in the best possible position and shine brightly on behalf of the recommender that's putting you up? So this are all bases covered. It's pretty straightforward, but everything that's come before this are the bases. You want to improve the positives, you want to neutralize the negatives, and those are the bases that you're trying to cover. In best action plan, you've got all bases covered. Now I've covered the bases. Now strategically, what am I going to do, and tactically, what's my plan? And what kind of timeline can I imagine for this opportunity? How can I manage this opportunity to get the outcome that I desire? And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's more stuff on here. Red flags are here, strengths are there, and this chart should be at a glance something that you can have 50 accounts on there, but the top 10 or 15 are just rocking and rolling. They're the ones where there's activity, there's influence, sure there's detractors, but you still have a grip on these accounts, and strategically and tactically you have a plan to win prominence in the conversation about filling the positions that you envision for yourself. So there you have it. That's my summary. I'm not sure how many minutes I've taken to tell this little tale, but once again, there's more that we can think about that I've not outlined, that's not captured in this release sheet, and hopefully one day soon, before we meet again, I will have fleshed that out to give you even more granularity of things to consider that position you to say, I'm going to forecast that I bet that I will be onboarded in this company, making this salary, working for these people within the next 4 months. And that's our goal, and that's what this exercise is all about. You being able to forecast the positive outcome with confidence. So there you have it. Hope this is straightforward and helps you build the chart, and we'll take it from there. Bye for now.